Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. And I want to share with you my top 4 favorite books from the first quarter of 2020. Giving quarter favorites is an idea that I got from Dane at Dane Reads. He does this every quarter for quite some time now. Since I haven't been doing really monthly wrap-ups, I've been doing some readathon wrap-ups, but not wrap-ups in the general sense. I thought maybe you guys would like to hear what some of the best books that I've read in January, February, and March would have been. Dane gives 10 favorites, but I have only read 16 books in the first quarter of 2020, so my top list is going to be the top 4. There was 25% of the books that I read that rose to the top and were well above the average read. So I wanted to share with you my top 4. The 4th favorite book that I have read is one that I just recently finished in March, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This is a mystery novel that has some somewhat creepy and strange things that they delve into while researching this guy's life, and it has a lot of mixed media sections like articles so that you can read the evidence and try to come up with your own idea of what's going on. So basically, let me tell you, this book is about Ashley Cordova found dead in an abandoned warehouse, and it is assumed suicide, and about an investigative reporter, Scott McGrath, who suspects that might not be true because her father is a very strange, secretive filmmaker who makes night films. He investigates the Cordova's lives, family dynamic, and Ashley's ultimate demise with the help of 2 younger people that have their own reasons for wanting to investigate and that have their own connections to the Cordova family and Ashley specifically. So I absolutely love this book. It was totally engrossing and unputdownable. I really loved the 3 main characters and their dynamic together, and they made a really great team, even though they were all flawed people on their own. They're a very likable team somehow. This book was really well written and put together really well to make it really stand out amongst mysteries. I will give you that. My 3rd favorite book that I read in the first quarter of this year is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is a super fast-paced science fiction thriller that I don't want to tell you too much about because it might ruin it, but I will say that it's about this man, Jason Dessen, who is abducted, knocked unconscious. He wakes up in a secret lab, and his life is completely different than the one before he woke up. His family is not his family. His house is not his house. Everything has changed, and he's like the same person but a completely different life. And then it goes from there. He has to figure out what's going on and try to get his life back. And the places that this book went had my jaw on the ground. I could not believe it. Especially the last quarter of this book. It was quite the mind-bending experience. And I absolutely loved it. All the ideas covered and places that this book goes, very exciting and very much fun to read. I like when a thriller can think that far out of the box. This is one you should definitely check out. Blake Crouch is definitely a favorite of mine. My second favorite book that I read in quarter 1 of 2020 is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is a fantasy novel, the first in a trilogy, the Farseer trilogy, and it was just so gosh darn cute and awesome. About a boy who finds out he is the bastard son of a prince. He gets sent to live in the kingdom to be raised by the royal family, and he's not quite, he doesn't have like great royal status. He's just like an illegitimate son, so he's kind of kept there to keep an eye on him and make sure he stays on their side and doesn't try any mischief, but he's not really considered royalty. And he gets taught a lot of different skills to use for the kingdom, and those skills are totally stinking awesome, especially ones like learning how to be an assassin, which is kind of a secret. Like, you're not supposed to know who the assassin is, so it's kind of like a secret life. And he's also learning the skill, which is using his mind to see things that are happening or will happen, and to see into people's minds, and it's very magical and wonderful. But he also is learning that he has another mind power where he can communicate with animals. But that is not a skill that is looked on with favor in this world. It is really looked down upon, and they try to keep him from using it. And if he gets found out that he does this, talking to animals and controlling animals and that kind of thing, he could get into a lot of trouble. So this is him growing up in the kingdom, learning all these skills, coming of age in a very strange environment. This is one of I think this is definitely my favorite fantasy that I have read in a long time, and it is one of my new favorite fantasy series. I am currently reading the second one, and it is also great. He's a little bit more grown up and dealing with some different kind of issues, but he's still my wonderful Fitz. I just love him. Check out the Farseer trilogy. It's freaking awesome, and I love it so much. And my favorite read of quarter 1, 2020 is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This is a classic, very dark, I would say gothic feeling type story about a woman who's dealing with some mental issues, and the way her husband deals with it is by making her stay inside in this one room all the time and in this new house. And she absolutely hates this house, and the wallpaper in this room drives her absolutely up the wall. She can't take her eyes off it, and she keeps imagining she's seeing things in the wallpaper, and it's just very interesting the way she describes this character's mental state and what she's thinking as she is just sitting in this room day after day looking at this yellow wallpaper that she hates. And as you might imagine, things progressively get worse and worse. This was my favorite read. It was filled with amazing descriptions. I really felt for this woman in this story. Those are my top 4 reads from January, February, and March. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you will be reading them soon, or if you want to. Let me know. If you like this video, you can hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.